As we gather here today, Duke, DEQ, and Governor McCroy continue a debate over numbers. How much money to pay in fines, how many years to clean up the toxic coal ash polluting our state, what levels of toxins are acceptable standards. None of these numbers address the real problem. Our water throughout our state is poisoned, and far too many people are sick and dying. This is a major crisis, and no one in the governor's office is willing to see what's going on day to day in these communities. Before the Dan River coal ash spill, very few people even knew what coal ash was. They were living right next door to monstrous ponds where the toxic pollution was hidden in plain sight. And these people are still there. They are stuck with property values plummeting and healthcare costs escalating. How many bottles of water can serve as a Band-Aid for these community members, and for how long? Here in Walnut Cove, a woman recently went to the doctor to learn that she had stage 4 breast cancer. By the next morning, she had passed away. All around us in Stokes County, people of all ages are facing cancer and mysterious illnesses. Brain tumors are commonplace. These numbers, the numbers of health implications, are what are staggering. And these numbers are what caused me to start asking questions in 2010. The rate of illnesses and deaths in Stokes County are not normal. Instead of fixing the situation or holding the polluters responsible, DEQ is downplaying the risk from chemicals that Duke Energy has dumped into our drinking water. These chemicals, like vanadium or hexavalent chromium, are just one of a cocktail of toxins being fed into our water, streams, and bodies daily. We have a list of the levels found on the do not drink letters surrounding Blues Creek. The three most startling numbers include arsenic at a rate of 108 micrograms per liter, lead at 1,890 micrograms per liter, and iron at 8,500 micrograms per liter. Imagine what that does to your body to live, eat, breathe, and sleep surrounded by a mix of arsenic, lead, mercury, selenium, radon. The list goes on and on. And we find out that last year, Governor McCroy held a secret dinner meeting with Duke Energy executives and DEQ officials. No one will say what they talked about over dinner, but after dinner, DEQ reduced Duke's coal ash settlement from $25 million for one pond to $7 million for all 14 ponds. That's a pretty sweet deal for Duke Energy, but a lousy deal if you're one of the thousands of people forced to rely on poisoned drinking water every day. So who is Governor McCroy really working for? Is he working for the people of North Carolina, or is he still working for his former employee, Duke Energy? Based on the actions we've seen so far, I'd say the answer is clear. Governor McCroy, come have dinner with us and see what your collusion with Duke Energy has done to our community. Come see what it's like to have to use bottled water for cooking and even for brushing your teeth. If you really think the water here in Walnut Cove is fine, we'll even let you drink it straight from the tap, although I wouldn't recommend it. Now I'd like to introduce some of our speakers. First, Reverend Gregory Hairston.
Good morning. My name is Reverend Gregory Hairston. I'm pastor of Rising Star Baptist Church and the active for environmental control. We here in Stokes County face a double whammy in that we face Duke Power with the ash dust that has been accumulated over years and years, and also with the fracking. So we here in Stokes County is saying no more. No more will we take it lying down. We will stand and unite and carry our message all the way to the White House if necessary. Truly, lives are being lost. People's water are being contaminated. We have people that are suffering. I too have suffered personal loss due to the effect of cancer within my family. I lost my baby sister about 8 years ago. Lost my father 2 years ago, both with cancer. Now, this theme with Duke Power has been manifested over years and years when the fly ash dust was flying throughout this county and throughout Rockingham and through Forsyth County, and that landing upon our grounds and our resources and being placed in the ground where we farm and create vegetables. And so everything that has taken place is a direct effect, we feel, caused by Duke Power. They don't want to hear us, the governor don't want to hear us, but we're here to tell you we're here to stay. And we're going to fight until changes are made on the state level and the federal government. We intend to voice our opinion. We continue to march on to changes are made. We have been to the state legislators, they refuse to hear. So it's time for us to voice our opinion. This is our year. 2016, we can send a message throughout this state by going to the polls and grow numbers, removing those who refuse to hear us. So I say, let's go forward. We got to fight, but the victory is already ours. Jesus gave us the victory over 2,000 years ago. He says, stand up for what is right. We're standing up for righteousness today to let them know this will not take place forever. We intend to make a change, and this change will begin in 2016. Thank you.
Next, I would like to invite Tracy Brown Edwards.
And I'm here once again to plead with Duke Energy and Governor Pat McCrory and DEQ to think about the people living in communities suffering with the negative effects of coal ash ponds and mounds of coal ash that have poisoned our land and water. There's been a continuous and numerous illnesses consisting of cancer, strokes, and skin lesions on folks, and heart attacks associated with living near these coal-fired plants. Blues Creek steam station should be high on the priority list, not close to the bottom. My mother, Annie Brown, helped raise awareness in my community along with Appalachian Voices in my community as our neighbors and family and friends that became sick. My mother said she liked turning on her lights just like everyone else, but at what cost? Certainly not at the cost of human life. My community here in Stokes County consists of generally families that have generations that grew up here, didn't move away when their land was purchased by Duke Energy so many years, over 40 years ago. They still live close by because their families, their roots were here. Had they known how dangerous the land would become over the years, they never would have kept their families here and raised them here. People here have a genuine concern for one another. The cost of Duke Energy to clean up these coal ash ponds and mounds, yes, it will be expensive, but human life is priceless. Our communities suffer, and they're dying at an alarming rate. Governor Pat McCrory, you had dinner with DEQ. Now you have an invitation to come dine with me and my community so that you can truly make decisions based on information from the people your decisions impact. We are strong here in this county and across the state. We share our stories, we share information to make the knowledge known that Duke Energy is no longer going to bully us into accepting what they dish out. Come join us, Pat McCrory. We love to have you. Thank you.
Next, Sarah Kellogg from Appalachian Voices is going to explain the different toxins in the water in the area.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah Kellogg and I work at Appalachian Voices. And we decided to include this brief interlude from Community Voices to respond directly to Tom Reeder, who is the Assistant Secretary of the Department of Environmental Quality over in Raleigh. And last week, as we were in Raleigh, citizens that traveled from across the state to express their concerns about coal ash and asked the governor to please come talk to them and listen to them. As we were there, Tom Reeder was telling legislators that the water was safe, that everyone was afraid for no reason, and that there was really nothing to worry about. This whole coal ash thing had just really been blown out of proportion. And I just wanted to say that that's a lie. That is a bold-faced lie. There have been over 400 do not drink orders issued across the state, many of them for vanadium and hexavalent chromium, but there have been letters issued here in Blues Creek for other constituents like arsenic and lead, which exceeded the federal drinking water standards, which Tom Reeder was quoted saying that the water met federal drinking water standards, that it was safe, that he would drink it. But I'd just like to point out that next to the coal ash ponds at the Blues Creek Power Plant on Old Plantation Road, there are houses that have arsenic levels at 22.5 parts per billion, 12.1 parts per billion, and 108 parts per billion, and the federal limit is 10. That's over 10 times higher than the federal limit. There's also a house near the power plant that has lead at 1,890 parts per billion, and the federal limit is 15. That's over 100 times higher. So Tom Reeder, please maybe explain to people how you can consider that water to be safe, because as this levels increase, the health risk increases exponentially as well. You know, we know Duke Energy is a convicted criminal. They've been convicted of federal crimes over and over again, and they're still in court being investigated. McCrory has been investigated by the federal government. We know that in June, he met with the CEO of Duke Energy and with his head of DEQ. And now the Assistant Secretary of DEQ is spreading these lies to legislators. So it seems pretty obvious to me who Governor McCrory and his administration is working for. And we truly believe that if legislators, if other staff would come to these communities and talk to people, they would learn that there is a staggering number of health issues here, and this is a huge crisis that has yet to be addressed. The governor has yet to say one word about this water crisis and this health crisis, and that is completely irresponsible. So.
And our last speaker is Ira Tilley.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be with everyone this morning. I am Ira Tilley. I am from Rockingham County. My mother's family are all from Stokes County, so I have strong family ties and roots here in Stokes County and on top of that, water flows downhill. So, that affects, Rockingham County also. And, you know, we keep hearing this morning about the, meeting that, our governor had with the, Duke Power officials and the DEQ folks, and nobody's, willing to, be transparent and talk about what, happened and what was said at that meeting. And as, Sarah pointed out, and others have also, that all these, things just, they're either a major coincidence or there's something going on here behind the scenes. And, folks, I believe that, our state's, ethical and conduct standard, rules for all elected officials need to be updated in our state. And, I believe that our governor has yet to do it in almost 4 years in office. He has yet to call for true campaign finance reform. That's the problem here, folks. It's all about, the money. These folks are, taking money from, Duke officials to help fund their campaigns. And, instead of saying, no, we're not gonna do that, any longer, they've, opened the floodgates even more in the last session to take even more money and, be less accountable to we the people than they were already before. That is the issue here. And, I also would like to take this opportunity to invite the governor to, come here to, Stokes County and be with the people here and listen to their concerns, listen to what these people have to say. This is real. What is happening here is, it may be just a money game for these folks in Raleigh, but this is, absolutely dealing and having effects on people's lives. That's what all this is about. And it's simply irresponsible and it's unacceptable. And I agree with Reverend Harrison and Tracy. We're not going to take this anymore. We have got to stop what we're doing. And again, thank you for listening. And I'm going to continue to do everything I can to help push in that direction. Thank you so much.
Thank you to all of our speakers and to everyone in the media for coming out to Wanacove today. I know it was last minute, but we felt like this was really important and newsworthy. All of our speakers are going to be available for in-person interviews here in just a minute. I do want to just have a people show of hands if you have to show the impact with the people in the community. If you have had cancer, cardiological issues, respiratory problems, or neurological problems, or anything else you can't explain, please raise your hand. Also, you can continue to raise your hand. Also, please raise your hand if you've lost someone from one of these issues in your immediate family. And then please raise your hand if you're concerned about someone in this community who is dealing with these issues now. Okay, at this time, I'm going to ask Reverend Harrison to lead us in prayer, and she'd also like to ask for people to introduce themselves. Thank you.
Let us pray. Gracious